Operations in 4 states with over 400 employees, and while growing, they're able to offer benefits including health care to many of their full-time employees. There is no way they've been able to sustain this type of growth and hiring power if they face pressure of a union or government-mandated health care.
Our government right now is proposing some of the most radical, fundamental changes in America that we've seen in a long, long time. And I think people need to be very careful when they're looking at these programs and not think about change as a goal. And if we let this president and this Congress run wild, they are going to take drastic measures and change fundamental things about our society, which I think they don't even understand the consequences of.
If the Obama administration is allowed to force health care, card check, and not to mention cap and trade down the throats of American entrepreneurs, you can kiss many small businesses and jobs goodbye forever. Here's bowling alley CFO Brett Parker. He is with Bullmore Lanes right here in New York City. You would think that your business would be doing well right now because you're not going to the uber elite. You're going to the average, everyday schmo, are you not?
Well, we cater to a little bit more upscale than your normal bowling alley's audience, but where we've really been hurt.
I bowl.
Yeah, and you're pretty upscale. Those are pretty nice jeans.
Oh, aren't they, though? Yes, they're very nice. Okay.
No, but our business, system-wide, we derive, well, a year ago we did derive about 50% of our revenue from corporate and special events. And, you know, as we sort of came through AIG and bonuses and junkets and this whole deal, and, you know, we got the how dare you, shame on you, spend money on, you know, corporate entertainment, whether it's for, you know, employees or customers or whomever, and that market's just imploded. And
is there any way, I mean, I see Carmine's people sitting right behind you. Jeffrey, you're the CEO of Carmine's. You guys having a hard time with that? Are you seeing businesses not bringing people out to be entertained?
Only on the high end you'll see them, but they're still coming out. So you'll see the high-end corporate parties that might have been $100 a head have dropped down to $60, but people still have to eat, so we're in a lucky profession.
Right. As long as you're not a restaurant in Las Vegas or Orlando, you're fine. Healthcare for the Bullmore Lanes, about $1 million extra to provide healthcare. Is that right?
yeah, well, it's not. We're not just one property. It's 6 venues in 4 states. We're
But still, it's still $1 million.
It turns out to be a whole lot of money, and you know the problem is that's all money that sort of goes for naught from my perspective, and it crushes our sustainable growth rate.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you take that money, as far as I can see, you pour it in the drain because you're going to put it into a government-led program where, you know, who knows how that's going to go. But it's all cash pulled out of our company that we can't then invest. I mean, in 12 years, we've gone from 12 employees, we were at a high of 450, now we're, call it 375. You can't have that sort of growth from a big business. That's a small business thing. And we can't do that if all of our money is going into paying for health care.
Who is, when you look at this board, and I want to get into it here in a second. I wrote over here, first of all, that I think, raise your hand if you agree with this, that our government now seems to be a government of just special interest. Doesn't seem to be a government of we the people, right? If you're in the right company or you're in the right special interest, if you're in the unions, you're in big finance, you're a giant corporation which has big unions, or you're in a favored group or industry, you'll be fine. When I was trying to look at the stimulus package, I thought, why wouldn't you go to the list of the most successful small businesses in America and then pour the money into those businesses? If you're going to do a stimulus, how about looking for those companies that are growing instead of pouring the money down the drain from businesses that have screwed everything up?
We don't want a handout, but GM, I think the number was $64 billion that was invested into them. You could have given 64,000 small businesses $1 million.
Can you imagine what that would have created? What would the bowling alley do with $1 million? Well, you'd pay extra for health care.
More bowling alleys.
You'd build more bowling alleys. Is there anything on this list that needs to be added? Because this is the pressure that I see in my business. I see taxes going up that are, I mean, crushing. Just the taxes alone are going to be crushing. Healthcare, crushing. Cap and trade, crushing. Slow down just in the business world, just the way it just is naturally happening. You have regulation. who you can hire, who you can fire. I don't know about anybody else, but sometimes we try to hire very, very carefully because once you hire them, you ain't firing people. Is that a problem for anybody else? How about the litigation? The workforce alone. There's a lot of jobs that Americans just won't do. That pisses me off. Is anybody else try to hire people for good jobs and they're either not educated enough or they're lazy and they won't do it? And so you're sitting here saying, sometimes you'll have to hire 2 people because the person you hire just won't do it, or you can't keep that person. You got to see it in the restaurant business a lot.
We had to start our own ESL class programs.
You had a what?
We started our own ESL program, English as a Second Language, to just allow people to move up. And you talk about, people coming in an entry-level position. Only certain people want that job. We pay good wages, pay more than minimum wage. And then to promote from within, we would start our own program and our own training programs inside. Our biggest thing that I think that's missing on the list that we see is credit, is a lack of credit.
Oh, no, they've made all those loans to the banks.
Right. So the banks have it.
Right.
We run a successful business. We want to open another restaurant. We could create 225 jobs if we open another restaurant.
May I ask you a question? I want to go back, and then we have to take a break. I want to go back to the question on, you started an English as a Second Language program. Is there anybody here that doesn't want more legal immigrants in this country? Because legal immigrants, people who work to get here and do it the right way, are a lot of times better than the Americans who have lived here for generations and just expect it all to be handed to them. Is there anybody here that disagrees with that statement? We're playing a game, America, and you're not hearing the truth on any of this stuff. If you're sick of the government destroying small businesses and fundamentally transforming this country, you're not alone. If you feel that way, sign up for my free email newsletter at glennbeck.com. Back for some more common sense.